What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. First, I want to say thank you, Al Heyman. I want to get my post-fight review. Frampton versus Gonzalez was the main event on PBC. Now, I keep telling you guys, one thing I really like about PBC is the time. Since it's on prime time, it comes on a bit earlier. I was able to watch that. Now I'm going to do some other things, work on my workload, eat something, and I can do my post-fight without rushing tonight, Chavez Jr. Now, undercard, I'm not going to really spend much time talking about it. I thought Chris Arreola looked a bit sloppy, and I thought he lost the fight. I thought Cassie, however you pronounce it, I think he should have won. They ruled it a majority draw, I believe it was. So I don't think Chris Arreola will get a Deontay Wilder title shot off of that performance, me personally. Main event, Carl Frampton. Now, Carl Frampton, he put a lot of pressure on himself, and I'm going to explain that. With my post-fight reviews, I give you guys the good, the bad, and the ugly. Good. Carl Frampton, he showed that he's educated. He could be an educated puncher. He tripled up with his jab in one of the rounds, and he was like constantly using the jab. He did endure some trouble in the very first round, and I'm going to talk about that more in the bad. But I like what I've seen from Carl Frampton. He looked very composed. You could see that he has power and that good punch placement. I really like that. So a dominant performance. I only gave Gonzalez, I think, 2 rounds. That was the first and the 9th round. And that being said, he showed a lot of durability by surviving that early knockdown and coming back to pretty much shut out his opponent, who was a live dog in every other round, which leads me to the bad and the ugly. Now, the bad is this. With Carl Frampton, I noticed that Keith Thurman type of temperament. What I mean by that is you're clearly, from what I've seen, the better skilled fighter. But you're so eager. He keeps saying this stuff in interviews before the fight, like, I'm an action fighter. And he just signed a pact with Al Heyman. He's on PBC, first fight in the States, so it's his PBC American debut. And he puts a lot of pressure on himself, saying, I'm an action fighter, this and that. Just like Keith Thurman, KOs for life. The problem is when you're in there with somebody that the world doesn't really know about and you put that type of pressure up, now you got to live to that. And if you struggle or have any problems with it, then with that opponent, then now people are you leave yourself open for that criticism. So me, I think, I know how some people act. They're, oh, Frampton was exposed. I don't think anything like that. He got knocked down. To me, there were more flash knockdowns. The second one might have been legit, but Frampton opens those floodgates by putting that much pressure, like, oh, I got to go in for the kill. And boxing's weird like that. I'm telling you. You had his last fight with Chris Avalos, who was ranked much higher and a bigger name, a little bit more known name at 122. And he got dominated and knocked out. Avalos got knocked out. Then this guy is unheard of, Alejandro Gonzalez, and he puts up a good effort. The first round, he knocks down Frampton twice. But I think some of that comes from, again, having that Keith Thurman, Timothy Bradley chip on my shoulder type of temperament. Like Timothy Bradley, oh, they saying I can't punch. So he's going in there fighting Jesse Vargas like he's Gennady Golovkin with all the power in the world. Or guys who can punch like Keith Thurman who aren't necessarily fighting the right type of fight because they're so eager to impress. You know what I mean? And as a fighter, it's not just physical. You're going to run into a guy who is built like you, who's tough like you, who can bang and crack like you. And that's why you have to be a smart fighter, you know what I mean? And I think in those early goings, like the first round really, Frampton, he was putting too much pressure on himself and he was just real jittery. And people don't consider this. You have to look at the variables of boxing. You're in there with a guy who says he can punch. I didn't know much about Gonzalez beforehand. But what we do know is from the eye test, he's tall. He's much taller. And if you're a taller opponent, you can't be all or if you're the shorter opponent, you can't be all reckless versus the taller guy, because that's what happens. You can get knocked down, flash knockdowns, and not even see a punch coming from a different range. So I think Frampton, he got back to his game plan. What the improvements and the adjustments is what I really liked. He started fighting more measured approach. He started jabbing, and it's a problem. And this is what shows you his background, his pedigree, and his skill set as a fighter. When the shorter fighter's out jabbing the much taller fighter. But things like that happen. People, they laughed at Rigondeaux for getting knocked down by Amagasah. Amagasah, a lot of people don't know, he's actually from a higher division and came down just for the opportunity to fight Rigondeaux. But again, you can't be in there with these tall guys. And I think Rigondeaux did it for a different reason. I think Rigondeaux was being pressured to put on more exciting performances and fought a bit more reckless. And then for Frampton, I think he puts that pressure on himself. You don't always need, and I think I blame some of the fans too, because people, oh, we want to see action, this is boring, this person ran, and some of these fighters get that in their head. But I'm telling you, you will change the lifespan of your career by fighting their fight. At the end of the day, the fans will be the first ones to turn on you. Ask Mike Alvarado. So I like what I've seen from Frampton. I think he just needs to tighten up, because you don't want to get upset by a guy who's not on your level skill-wise because you fought the wrong game plan. And that message is for a lot of fighters, not just Carl Frampton. It's for Keith Thurman. It's for Timothy Bradley. Why make these guys into stars when you could have had a shutout performance from the gates? You know what I mean? But overall, I really like what I see from Carl Frampton. Donaire won his fight tonight. Nonito Donaire got a stoppage. And Scott Quigg got a stoppage. That's a big money fight in the UK. He got a stoppage over Kiko Martinez in round 2. And you have Abner Mares, who was in, or actually Leo Santa Cruz was in the crowd. Abner Mares and Leo Santa Cruz are fighting next month, and that's at another division. He said he had a little bit of trouble cutting weight, so he might even move up to featherweight. I don't know. But either way, there's a lot of people in or around the division that make for exciting fights with Carl Frampton. I like what I seen from him. He just needs to tighten that buckle and stop fighting with the chip on your shoulder. Fight an educated fight. Don't look for a knockout. Ask Pacquiao. Pacquiao was easily winning rounds 5 and 6 versus Marquez, but he undermined Marquez's ability, and he tried to pour it on too thick, a little bit of time left, and try to go in for the kill. That's when these guys are most dangerous, especially like Paulie Malignaggi was saying. You can't have a guy who's young. You can't tell a young guy no, you know what I'm saying? Gonzalez really believes in himself. He said at the fighter meeting, he was like, people will be surprised. I have power. I can hurt him too. And that's what he showed you. So I really want to see Gonzalez again. I think he can give a lot of fighters a run for his money. He showed his grit and his toughness. He's definitely tough. And it was overall a great fight for PBC. I'm going to get something to eat. You guys let me know what you thought. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.